Welcome all to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible organizations and the work that they're doing. I am your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C45 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders. I'm a passionate disability rights advocate and attorney focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today we are joined by Laura Beattie and the Inclusive Viewpoint. Welcome, Laura.
Hi, Josh. Hi, viewers. Hope you're all okay. Hope you all had a good Christmas and New Year.
And I'm just so glad to have you here today. So, Laura, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. And first of all, as well, thank you so much for having me on this and for reaching out. I'm really grateful and honoured to be on the podcast. So thank you so much. Yes, I'll get right into it. So my name's Laura Beattie. I'm from Manchester in England. I am the co-founder of the Inclusive Viewpoint, and I'm also the co-founder of a clothing brand called Career with my sister Rachel, who's also my co-founder of the Inclusive Viewpoint. I also have cystic fibrosis, and I was diagnosed at 4 months old, and I was put on the double lung transplant waiting list in August 2018, so 3.5 years now. But yeah, that's basically me. And like yourself, Josh, a passionate disability advocate, and talk about inclusion and accessibility is such a strong point of ours that we do in every bit of our working life and personal lives as well.
So tell us a little bit about the work you're doing with Inclusive Viewpoint.
Yeah, of course. So the Inclusive Viewpoint, I'll just talk a little bit about it, is a community which shares ideas and best practices and actions with the mission to create a fully inclusive and diverse and accessible fashion industry, but also world as well. So last year, because we have our clothing brand as well, we noticed that there was a lot of accessibility issues and also inclusivity issues as well. So last year during the pandemic, we decided that we wanted to create a free platform that has resources and also gives information and highlights the amazing work that people are doing for inclusion, disability, and also accessibility. So we started a podcast, and it's called The Viewpoints, and we've had about 7 people on from different parts of the industry, and also from models, stylists, founders, CEOs, manufacturers and suppliers. And we're really committed to creating a platform that shares ideas, opportunities, like I said, best practices, and most importantly, the actions of how the fashion industry can become a fully inclusive, accessible and diverse industry. And where an industry where every person from any background, gender, age, belief, orientation, disability, ethnicity can achieve anything they put their mind to and everything that they dream of. And this was really passionate, as obviously with having a disability, we wanted to highlight, like I said, like the amazing work that people are doing around the world. And we've had people from America and Australia and the UK as well. So it's been a really, really good opportunity to learn more about what people are doing, what else we can do as well to help open up the industry to more people with disabilities.
What is adaptive fashion, adaptive clothing for viewers that have never kind of heard those terms?
Yeah, so for us, adaptive clothing is thinking of ways that you can design clothes that can help with people with disabilities. So it can be, whether it be using different like fastenings or strips, like Velcro strips, and just make clothing more adaptable and more accessible to people with disabilities. And for us as a whole, I think it's inclusion as a design. So starting from the very, very beginning of when you're thinking of how do I design clothes or what do I look for in clothes, then it's thinking about how can we make this accessible and inclusive to all people, whether that be making it easier to get on and off and things like that, or is it just thinking about how we can make it inclusive to everyone, and thinking it always starts with us in the design of the product. And we think that runs through like a lot of like the industry and also the world. It should be something that's thought of at the very beginning, not just an afterthought. And I think that's what we find a lot of the time as well, that inclusivity and accessibility is an afterthought a lot of the time. So we're trying to bring it back to it being one of the main things that you think of. Yeah, exactly. You just think of it, it just is kind of thing. So yeah, that's definitely what we try and advocate for as well. But There are amazing brands that are doing adaptive clothing, and I'm sure there's a lot in America because I think they're very forward thinking with that aspect. So I've been really happy to see that there is a lot more inclusive and adaptive fashion that is going on. There's still
What
a
are
lot of
some
work
of
to do.
those? What are some of those bigger brands that are starting to kind of recognize that they can do more with their platforms?
Yeah, definitely. And as you'll know, Josh, there's always a lot more that can be done, but I think it's a good step in the right direction. But I think, like what we were just saying earlier, just a minute ago, is that it should just be something that is rather than, like we said, like an add-on. And I think hopefully it is shifting towards that. But I hope that we can play a part. And I think, like you're doing an amazing job with as well, it's just bringing it to the actual conversation and people are taking notice. And I think that's one of the main things that we hope we'll see in the very near future, that it is,
Um,
becoming part of it, part of the whole thing.
well, getting people to think a little bit differently or recognizing, like, I know before my injury, before I became paralyzed, I never thought of adaptive clothing. Like, I just look at a pair of pants. Like, all right, that's used for standing and walking and sitting and all these things. But like, for me, like pants, I'm only sitting really. And it can be designed specifically for
Yeah,
that to like really fit my body better, be less wrinkles. I don't need the back pockets, which can cause pressure points.
yeah.
Like, and then when it comes to putting them on or, zipping them up or attaching them, like there's a lot of little things you can tweak to a pair of pants to make it more wheelchair friendly.
Exactly. And it doesn't need to be that it's a completely separate thing, isn't it? It can be something that can be incorporated into the mainstream. And I think that's where we need to get to, isn't it? Where it's not adaptive clothing and the mainstream. Everyone is entitled and everyone has a right to have fashion and clothes that they love and everything like that. So I think it's bringing them together where it's not separate and bringing everyone together, which I hope will happen very soon.
Well, so much of just comparing or kind of moving forward with kind of the idea of adaptive clothing, adaptive fashion within any industry, you're just providing choices. You're
Yeah.
providing more customized experience for unique users, and
Mhm.
that goes across industries, across platforms, and being able to like think about it like that, you're really tapping into untapped markets and
Absolutely.
creating kind of a connection with your customers.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit more about kind of that idea?
Yeah, of course. So for us, it's like I said before. For us, it's bringing that to the forefront and bringing that into the actual, like the whole brand. And I think bringing it all together and doing the little tweaks and everything, it really, really like makes a massive difference. And I think it's not just clothing as well, is it? It's like the websites. Like I know when I've been on American websites, that obviously they have the accessibility button that you can change it and you can adapt it to yourself. And I think that's one thing that I've not seen in that many places where I feel like that can make a massive, massive difference. So whether it be visually impaired or hearing impaired and things like that, I think just the little tweaks like doing stuff on the website or making it when you go shopping, just making it more accessible, whether it be like wheelchair accessible or like I can't walk very far, like I have to sit down a lot and things like that. So even just thinking about them kind of things, so whether they be in that shopping experience, like maybe a couple of chairs or maybe just making the aisles a bit bigger and things like that, it's just stuff that can easily be done that can make a world of difference to people who want to experience shopping or experience like shopping online or even going on different websites and everything. I think, like what you said, it's just little tweaks that can really make that massive difference. Like what you were saying with the pants, like with the back pockets for pressure points. Like it's just opening that conversation to think, how can we do these things that can make clothing, can make anything accessible to all? And I think, like I said, like you're doing a brilliant job of it and just explaining how do like with the clothing and stuff. Like I just think it's these little things that we can really like take on board, have that conversation and think about how can we make it inclusive to everyone. And I think that's one thing that we're trying to get across, but also like what you're doing. And I think it is one of those things that the conversation is starting, but I do think there is some way to go as well.
being inclusive, and whether it's the adaptive fashion or within websites, it's just if you can give choice to people, you give them power.
Yes.
And I know for me, like I love being able to go on a website and being able to customize it using those type of profile systems and being able to really being able to explore and absorb the information to my unique abilities. And then like within the fashion world, a piece of clothing for me really gives me, that power through confidence. If I feel comfortable in my clothes, if I feel like I look good in my clothes, it's amazing what that does for a person. And speak a little bit to that of what you think. Why is it so important for adaptive fashion to like really connect with a unique person, or what can it give them?
Oh, I think one, you hit the nail right on the head there. Like, I don't think that why should people be excluded from something that is part of our everyday life? It is something that we wear clothes every single day, don't we? Like, why should a group of people, and the people with disabilities are the largest like minority, aren't they? There's over 1 billion people in the world with disabilities, and to be excluded from wearing clothes or being able to wear clothes that you love or that you want to feel better in and things like that, then I don't see why that happens. And like you said, the connecting with that customer, connecting with a person with disability, like it can make a world of difference. It's not saying, oh, we've got this for you just to make you feel better. It's bringing them up into this, like, we love fashion, we love wearing clothes, then why can't we have that same experience as someone who doesn't have a disability or that kind of thing? Do you know what I mean? Where it is like, why should we be excluded from this just because we have a disability? We should be able to enjoy the things that people with disabilities are able to enjoy without even giving a second thought to. So I think getting that across, like through the adaptive brands and also inclusive brands, I think it can reach a lot more people because a lot of people with disability may not know about certain brands or may not know that certain types of clothes can work better and things like that. So I think it's spreading that word, like I said before, like starting that conversation and thinking about how brands can actually connect with their customer and convey the benefits, convey what their offering is. And I think that's one thing that can make a huge difference and work towards a accessible and inclusive fashion industry, which I do think it needs to be done, really, doesn't it? Because why would we want to be excluded? Why should we be excluded just because we have a disability? And it's just not right in our how it should be. And I think it is like connecting to the customer and connecting to also other brands that aren't exclusively adaptive, but maybe like again having that conversation with these brands or like giving your opinion or feedback and stuff like this, just to make it more open and being able to be included in that conversation as well, like whether it's from designing clothes or do like obviously the social media or the marketing. It's every single part of what goes into making a brand and clothing and that.
And the brands are putting so much time and energy to like connect with their customers and tell stories of their customers. Like persons with disabilities are incredible stories to share, and like being able to put energy and time into creating clothing for people with disabilities and letting them get out in the world and showcase and smile, live, and just do incredible things in those clothing. It's just I feel like brands want to be a part of that. They want to like,
Absolutely.
and it's we're talking more today about diversity, equity, and inclusion within the business world. So it's I think businesses are recognizing the importance of bringing those conversations to the table and then also doing something about it because the time's now. It's not just the right thing to do. It's like it's smart business, and there's a lot that can be done with that. So tell us a little bit more about your role within the Inclusive Viewpoint and what does your mission look like right now?
Yeah, so it's just myself and my sister Rachel who co-founded it. So when we were doing our podcast last year, we were finding people to speak to, and also writing the questions, also putting the podcast together, which you'll know all about, Josh, like absolutely everything about, and also finding resources, speaking to people within the industry as also. So for us, like day to day, it's looking around and trying to find how else we can build up the community, but also build up the bank of resources that we offer for free, and whether it be for disability or grants for anyone else. It just could be absolutely anything. So it's just about like building up that bank of resources, because we don't want to have to put like a firewall up that people can't get to the resources, because there's so many resources about whether it be the UK, whether it be obviously the US, Australia, everywhere. There's so many resources. So it is, I'd say like the day to day, like I said, is like the building up resources and just thinking how we can as well with our business going forward, like incorporate everything into that. So it's a bit of a mix of the day to day stuff, and our roles covers everything, to be honest, because it is just myself and my sister. So it covers absolutely everything. And if we find something that we think is interesting or things like that in the social media and everything, then we'll put it up and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's just basically running that, like the business side of it, really.
We're hustling and working. And
Yeah.
so what is an accomplishment to date that you're kind of most proud of?
Oh gosh. I'd say there's actually quite a few. So I think from the inclusive viewpoint is like putting it together and doing the podcast, because I think I've never done that before. So I think that was definitely something that was very new to me, and it was something that I learned a lot from, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I say that's a big accomplishment. Another accomplishment would be my clothing brand. Again, not coming from a fashion background or business background, it took a lot of learning curves as well. So I think that's definitely an accomplishment that I'm very proud of. But I think personally as well is because obviously when I put on the transplant list, it's a very scary time, unpredictable, and I just wasn't sure how to feel. And I think being able to do the things I do, say with the inclusive viewpoint, but also with other stuff like my clothing brand, then it's really helped me to put everything together and to build confidence as well. And I think I've learned, like I said a minute ago, I've learned so much from all the stuff. And I'd say there's little things in every single day that are accomplishments that I'm really proud of doing, and I hope they do continue.
I love that so much. And so I very much hope many more accomplishments will continue to happen, and I know they will. So I know within the need, we're talking about the inclusive viewpoint. So what does really inclusion mean to you? I want to hear more of why that's that word and what it means and why it's so important.
For myself and my sister Rachel, inclusion for us is a really, really strong word in terms of like, if you're not inclusive, you're actively excluding people. And why would we want to do that? Why would we want to exclude a group of people, exclude a person? Like, we'd never do that. And I think inclusion for us is definitely bringing everyone into the conversation, bringing everyone into every part of society, like the business world, like the fashion industry. And they're just obviously examples, but everywhere else as well. And I think to be inclusive it plays on the word obviously, but including everyone. It's not about just doing it as an afterthought. It's doing it as part of like we said earlier, like the beginning. It's bringing everything into the beginning and being able to build on that and build up communities and build up everything. And I think for us as well, if you are inclusive, then you're giving everyone opportunities and allowing people to opportunities. And if you are excluding, then people who might not have, say, like with social mobility, might not have the resource or anything, might not be able to get them opportunities. But when we're being inclusive and when we're building an inclusive industry, people are able, hopefully, to get more opportunities, and that can only be a good thing can't it? People are getting the opportunities from all aspects of society. And I think, again, for us, inclusivity is, it covers so many things. It covers absolutely every part of our lives. And I think that's something, like we said, like with the helping to make the fashion industry an inclusive, accessible and diverse industry, because there are some aspects that aren't, but same with every other industry. And I think what change can be made with people who wouldn't necessarily get the opportunities, what amazing change and what change that they can create. And I think it's just amazing to be able to be inclusive, and to really, it shouldn't be, like we said, like an add-on. It should just be at the beginning. And I think that's something we're really passionate about, and just want, like, really need the world to be inclusive, because there's such great opportunities and some absolutely amazing people who can create change, and there's amazing people who are creating change and with their inclusive work, like yourself, Josh, and other people as well. And I think that for us is, it's not excluding people, it's bringing everyone into every aspect of society.
And I think that's just the perfect message to end on to the business community. Exactly what you said about inclusion and opportunity, being a part of this world. And there's so much that can be done with that, and so much more to do. So I want to end. Can you share kind of your websites and how people can check them out?
Yeah, of course. So our website for the Inclusive Viewpoint is just www.theinclusiveviewpoint.com. I can also send them, if you want to send them out or anything, that's more than fine. And we also have the podcast, which you'll be able to listen to on the website, but also on Anchor and obviously like Spotify and iTunes. So that's all on there. And the resources are on there, and also got the social media handles which are on there, which are just like the Inclusive Viewpoint. And that's got all Joe information about like what's happening in different industries, and also the free resources and things like that. And then, so yeah, that's basically it. But I can obviously send over anything if you need me to send anything.
What about the fashion website?
So the fashion website is www.careaux.com, and Careaux is spelled CAREAUX.
I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for being on our spotlight session today. And just thank you. And for all of our viewers, until next time, we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
So much. Bye.